Like, I had no idea what was going on, so just like I kind of like did things.
So you weren't that calculated?
No, I don't see myself exactly as a ladder climber. No, I was just kind of doing whatever I wanted at the time.
So you just wanted to go straight to the top?
Kind of, yes. Why waste my time? Just knowing the people who were at the top, they just, I don't know.
Sorry, knowing the people at the top.
Yeah, it's like they did not strike me as too smart or like too talented, so I felt like, why?
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, this is an interesting one because he kind of starts to flirt back. He's working the game, whether he's doing it intentionally or whether he's falling for whatever she's doing. You can see he's getting kind of sucked into it, and he's playing the game is what I would think, because we'll see something later. Interestingly, once one of my students in D.C. asked me, how would you interview Saddam Hussein? And I told him, well, with a narcissist, what you want to do is join their fan club and then fall out of love with them, and they will tell you everything you want to know. And he said, funny, that's what I did. He had been one of Saddam's interrogators. And so interesting to find out it worked that way. But there's still some flirtation, and she's doing this very locked eye contact. And she goes to non-specific language with filler words like, and then I did things, very non-specific language. You can tell she feels a little put off by him because he kind of is doing something she doesn't like, because she swallows heavy, she drops her chin, and she says, I just kind of was doing whatever I wanted at the time. Her face kind of goes flat. Then he starts the flirting back, and you can see she drops that chin and rolls her head to the side. And I do believe. Now, of course, part of this, look at her choice of clothing compared to the first show. Look at her makeup. Look at all of this is intended because her audience is male this time, I think. And this is an organism doing what the organism has been successful with to date. I don't think there's a whole lot that we're seeing any different than the others. It's just that when he doesn't bite, she starts to feel a little aloof, and then when he does bite, she leans back into it. She does a resume statement, I'm smarter than they are, and she also says in there something about those guys not deserving. So I think we're seeing a whole lot at play here that starts to say this has been her style and how she got to where she wanted to be. Again, I think she's holding up not a mirror of you, but a mirror of whatever it is you want to see to make you happy. And we'll find later that the young woman she bilked out of money, she did exactly that to her. So there's more than one way to get confidence in people, and I think what she is good at is appearing to be what you need. Scott, what do you got?
All right, let's keep noticing. Let's keep an eye on those eyebrows still. Nothing. And her eyes as well. Nothing really changes. And a real smile, as one of the first things you learn when you start studying body language, is the Duchenne smile. And that's where you have little wrinkles on the sides of your eyes when you smile. They're not, anybody can wrinkle their eyes when they squint, but they look differently from that. They don't go straight down like this. They come in at an angle like that, so you can spot them when you get good at it. It takes a minute. But believe me, after a while, you get good at it. We don't even see that here. We don't see even a little bit of that here. She's not even trying, I don't think. And then when he talks about, she's doing those short little shoulder shrugs and a couple of single shoulder shrugs, those indicate uncertainty. So I don't think she knew what her victims were going to do at that. You know, as she went through this, she was unsure about what they're going to do, but she was calculated. So that's the part I think that's making her, that's showing us the deceptive cues, that she was actually calculated. And then the interviewer, I think he's doing this the right way because it's very organic, and he's going with it. He's like you were saying, Greg, he's getting in there, and whether he's falling for it or not, I don't think he is. I think he's used to stuff like that. I think he's pro enough to go, I see what's going on here, and he's sort of playing along with her. Hopefully, he'll to get more information out of her as she talks. So. I think he's almost in a way flirting back, or showing that he's accepting that she's flirting and that something's happening here, you know. So, and then she starts degrading her victims again by talking about how they're not smart and not talented, which goes right along with the narcissistic personality that I'm not wrong, I'm right. That's their fault, not my fault. I got over on them because I was right and they were stupid. They're not talented. I'm much better than they are. They can't help it. They have to do that. All right, Chase, what do you got?
With all the references to how she sees herself, a great follow-up here, if this is you, is to ask, how has all of this changed the way that you see yourself? That would be perfect. It would help her to talk. And then later on, she's like, I kind of like, then she huffs again, this large exhale of dealing with stress, did things, and then there's another huff. And these two behaviors are now part of a pattern for her. And this is why it's so critical. You'll hear Greg probably talk about baseline more than any human being you will ever see in your entire life, because it's important. And B, he's obsessed with baseline. Greg is. But that's why this is so important. A lot of experts are going to tell you this means that, or one thing means one thing. And I call this, I think this is in literature, the attribution error. I think Scott has another cool name for it, but it's common even for experts to do this. Scott, really quick, what is the word you have for?
Dude, I'm trying to read my notes. I wouldn't listen. I'll cut that part out. But what are you talking about? Sorry, dude. I'm down here like, I only went over this once and I can't read my writing. And look at, looks like a dentist wrote it with his feet.
And when you're going to hear tons of experts in body language, I say experts, tell you that one thing means one behavior, one thing is always attributable to one thing. And I call this the attribution error. Scott calls it, I think, absolutes. And this means someone's telling you that something always means something. This is a dangerous way to think about behavior. But this huff is a release of energy for her. We don't really know for sure what kind of energy, but we sure see that it's during denials, stress, and dismissal of like the severity of her behavior. Secondary here, when an interviewer starts a statement with the word "so," I know they're going to be badass because there's not a question coming up. It's statements. And I want you to, when you watch this video again, look for how many statements that you hear instead of questions. I did a deep dive into this in my online behavior profiling course. It's a fantastic way to get really revealing information from people. It's called elicitation if you ever want to look it up. But it's also good, just good social skills. It's good conversation skills. So when she says, I don't see myself as a ladder climber, the interviewer just says, so you just want to go straight to the top? And then she goes, yeah, that's a ladder climber. So he traps her into saying it by using elicitation, which is a statement instead of a question. But then she says the people at the top are not smart, they're not talented. And this is a deeper layer on how Annis is seeing the world here. Intelligence means that you succeed. Talent should be the fuel to get you to the top. And I'm talking about her brain here. So she had both of those things in her mind, and all she needed to do was adjust the situation to make it right and how the world is supposed to work. So she deserved to be on top. And we got all of this information because the interviewer used statements instead of questions. That's why this information came out. If he would have directly asked her about how she saw the world, you would not have gotten this information. So this interviewer is heavy on elicitation statements in this interview. And I think I'm just going to announce here for the first ever recipient of the Chase Hughes Interviewer Excellence Award. I'm just going to make this a thing from now on. I'm sure there's going to be more in the future, but this is the first one. His name's Liam Bartlett, I think is his name. And we've seen him before on the show. It's fabulous. It's amazing. He did a great job. Mark?
Well, I think they both think they're doing a good job. And I think it might come back. I might take that award from him later on, Chase. So it's not mine to take. It's yours. You gave it. It's done now. It's done now. It's given. But I might try and grab it back in a moment. Look, she, very different from the last interview. She is now full on body. She's very symmetrical. She's very open. She is agreeable. She is way less coy. She's more physically available. And yes, it's absolutely flirtatious, I would say. Because also she's being, she'll draw you in with agreeableness, and then she'll undercut with negation. In the pickup world, it's often called negging. She's doing that, but she's doing it on somebody who's not in the room right now. In a moment, she's going to turn it on him, and he's not going to like it. Okay, so she's sharper than, of course she is, because actually she's quite a brilliant con artist. Yeah, of course, she gets caught. It's hard not to get caught. A lot of them get caught, but she's done pretty well because she's pretty good at it. In fact, she feels she's pretty good. You see her doing this shimmy. during it as well. That shimmy is about, I think this is going pretty well. I think I'm winning at this. I think both of them are delighted with this at the moment. One is enjoying, I think, being around this person as well, because she is quite alluring, because she is quite flirtatious, not only, you know, in potentially in that sexual way, but she's flirtatious in a cultural way, in a social way, because she will criticize somebody and have no remorse for it. And that's pretty powerful to be around. Culturally, people like that. In New York, in certain societies, especially in New York, that sharp criticism, that, shall we call it cattiness, for want of any other word, you probably have other ways to call it, is quite alluring and seen as that quite erudite in many ways. Many would say it's a low form of entertainment, but some would see it as quite a high form of entertainment and something spectacular to be around. I think he's quite enjoying it at the moment, and it might come to bite him later on.
It's like I had no idea what was going on, so just like I kind of like did things.
So you weren't that calculated.
No, I don't see myself exactly as a ladder climber. No, I was just kind of doing whatever I wanted at the time.
So you just wanted to go straight to the top.
Kind of, yes. Why waste my time? Just knowing the people who were at the top, they just, I don't know.
Sorry, knowing the people at the top.
Yeah, it's like they did not strike me as too smart or like too talented, so I felt like, why?
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.